Economy and occupations. Give it a try. Read the following graph and answer the questions. Gross national incomes, GNI, from 1960 to 2016, in million US dollar, Brazil, India, USA. Figure 8.1 liters. Which country's national income was highest in 2016 and was it how much? L. Comparing India and Brazil, which country had a higher national income in 1980? L. Comparing India and Brazil, which country had a higher income in 2016? L. Tell the difference between the GNP of Brazil and India in 2016. L. Calculate the difference between the national incomes of developed and developing countries in 2016. Try this. A table regarding the ownership of various sectors in both the countries is given. Like Brazil, fill the details regarding India and complete the table. India sector: Brazil, banking private and public both, railways private and public both, airways private and public both, electricity production largely public, iron and steel industry largely public, health private and public both, education largely public, little private, telecom muni private and public both, cations. L. On the basis of the information about the ownership of various sectors in both the countries given in the table, can you infer about the type of these economies? Geographical explanation: an economy of a country depends on the economic activities carried out in the country. You have learned that there are three types of economic activities in an economy. Let's recall. Classify the following activities in by ticking U in the respective column. Activities: television broadcasting, beekeeping, coir and rope making, primary, secondary, tertiary, jaggery making, producing blades of the plow. Construction: extracting iron ore, automobile production, rice production, teaching, driving buses, providing lodging and boarding facilities. Economic activities in Brazil and India. In figure 8.2, the pie charts show the contribution of each sector in the respective country's GDP and the percentage of population engaged in various activities. Read both the pie charts carefully and answer the following questions. 52 Brazil 5.5 27.5 67 India 1757 26 Contribution of sectors in GDP, 2016, 10 1971 26.9 48.8 24.3 Percentage of population engaged in various sectors, 2016, primary, secondary, tertiary. Figure 8.2 Which country has a higher percentage of population engaged in primary activities? In which country is the contribution of tertiary sector greater in the GDP? In which country is the share of secondary activities more in the GDP? Can we say that Brazil is an agrarian economy like India? Give reasons. Per capita income from 1960 to 2016, in US dollar. Country name / year: Brazil, India, USA. 1960, 1980, 2000, 2016. 240, 2010, 3060, 8840, 9280, 450, 1680, 3250, 14230, 37470, 56280. The United States is a developed country. The population of this country is well educated. This country has the strength of many patents, modern technology, and mechanical strength. This country is far ahead of Brazil and India in terms of national per capita income. India and Brazil are developing countries. These countries are progressing in the field of technological advancement, education, and industry. The national per capita income of the countries is low. India's per capita income seems to be even lower as India's size is very large. Think about it. Which type of occupations gives a boost to the development of a country's economy? Geographical explanation: in Fig 8.1 we saw that India has a higher national income than Brazil. Brazil is one of the world giants of mining, agriculture, and manufacturing, and it has a strong and rapidly growing service sector. On the other hand, India is still dependent on agriculture, though service sector is also increasing in India. Like the Indian economy, the Brazilian economy is also a mixed economy. Both the Indian and the Brazilian economies are developing economies. Their per capita incomes are very less as compared to the developed countries like the USA. It is interesting to note that though India has a higher national income as compared to Brazil, the per capita income of India is lower than Brazil. Can you think of a reason for the same? Use the following table and make a polyline graph with the help of computer. Make friends with maps. Look at the map given in Fig 8.3. The major primary occupations in Brazil are shown here. Discuss the following points and write your observations in the notebook. In which part of Brazil is coffee mainly produced? Which food crops are mainly grown in Brazil? Can you relate the production of these crops with the climate there? Where are the rubber plantations concentrated? Complete the table. Type of crops: food crops, cash crops, fruits and vegetables crops. Areas of production. 53 Geographical explanation. Agriculture. In Brazil, agriculture is the main occupation of the people living in the highlands and coastal areas. Favorable climate and topography make it possible for growing a variety of crops. Rice and maize are the main cereal crops. Production of maize is largely concentrated in the central part. Commercial crops like coffee, cocoa, rubber, soybean, and sugarcane are cultivated on a large scale. Brazil is the largest exporter of coffee and soybean in the world. The major states growing coffee are Minas Gerais and São Paulo. Besides these crops, production of fruits like bananas, pineapples, oranges, and other citrus fruits is also done. Cattle, sheep, and goats are also reared in the savanna grasslands in the south. Consequently, meat and dairy products are produced on a large scale. Mining. Observe the Fig 8.3 and answer the following questions. Prepare a table of mining products and regions of production in Brazil. In which part of Brazil has mining activity not developed? What could be the reasons? Considering the availability of resources, where has the development of industries occurred? Make friends with maps. Figure 8.354 Geographical explanation. The eastern part of Brazil is rich in various types of minerals like iron ore, manganese, nickel, copper, bauxite, tungsten, diamonds, etc. Inaccessibility, lack of knowledge of potential reserves of resources, dense forests, etc. are factors which have led to limitations in mining in the interior parts of the country. Nevertheless, because of increasing demand in the country, mining work has developed well in the highland region. Fishing. Answer the questions on the basis of Fig 8.3. Can you give 2 reasons of concentration of fishing near the southeastern coast of Brazil? Inland fishing is not developed in Brazil, though there is large number of rivers in Brazil. Can you think of a reason? Give it a try. The following images are related to agricultural activities. Identify and write whether they are practiced in Brazil or India. Let's recall. Name the warm and cold ocean currents near Brazilian coasts. Do you know? The United States dollar is used during international transactions at the international level. Dollar is the symbol of this currency. Brazilian real, BRL, is the currency of Brazil. Our dollar is the symbol of this currency. Is the symbol of Indian currency. 1 American dollar equals $3.1297. 1 US dollar equals 64.153. Note these rates of currency are always changing. Geographical explanation. Brazil has a sea coast of around 7,400 kilometers and excellent fishing grounds off the South Atlantic coast. The meeting of the warm Brazil current and the cold Falkland current off the coast of southeast Brazil makes it a good fishing ground. Traditionally, fishing has been carried on by small groups of individual fishermen using primitive techniques and equipment. But now, large vessels are being used. Swordfish, shrimp, lobsters, and sardines are mainly caught. The fish resources of the 55 Amazon River are not exploited much, and fishing only takes place on a small scale. Agriculture in India. Try this. Show the distribution of crops like wheat, jowar, rice, cotton, sugarcane, tea, and apple in the outline map of India. Using symbols, name the map. Geographical explanation. Unlike Brazil, India's agriculture contributes more towards GDP and also engages a larger chunk of population. Around 60% of land in India is under cultivation. Its enormous expanse of level plains, rich soils, high percentage of cultivable land, wide climatic variety, long growing season etc. provide a strong base to agriculture. In India, agriculture has been a long-standing activity. Indian agriculture is mainly subsistence type. India produces rice, wheat, maize, sorghum, and millets as major food crops. Plantations of tea, coffee, rubber, and cash crops like sugarcane, cotton, jute, etc. are also produced. India is also a major producer of a variety of fruits and vegetables. Fishing in India. Fishing plays an important role in the economy of India. India is one of the largest producers of fish, both marine and inland. Fisheries help in augmenting food supply, generating employment, raising nutritional level and earning foreign exchange. Fish forms an important part of the diet of many people living in the coastal areas of Kerala, West Bengal, Orissa, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Goa, and Maharashtra. India has about 7,500 km of coastline. Marine fishing accounting for about 40% of the total annual production of fish and being confined to coastal waters in the west from Kutch, Malabar coast to Coromandel coast. In the east, major fishes are sardines, mackerel, Bombay duck, and prawns. On the eastern coast, the important fish are horse mackerels, clupeids, and silver bellies. Freshwater fishing is carried on in rivers, canals, irrigation channels, tanks, ponds, lakes, etc. Silver bellies, carp, chopta, etc. are major freshwater varieties. About 60% of the country's total fish production comes from inland fisheries. Find out. Obtain information regarding pisciculture in India with the help of internet and reference books and write a note. Mining in India. The Kota Nagpur Plateau in India is a big storehouse of different minerals. Mining is the main occupation of the people there. Coal is mined in Korba in Chhattisgarh and in eastern Maharashtra. Mineral oil wells are found in Digboi in Assam, Mumbai High in Arabian Sea near Maharashtra, Kalal and Koyali in Gujarat. Reserves of mineral oil and natural gas have been discovered at the mouth of river Godavari. Stones like marble are found in Rajasthan and Kadapa in Andhra Pradesh. Industries in Brazil. Major industries include iron and steel production, automobile assembly, petroleum processing, chemicals production, and cement making. Technologically based industries have been the most dynamic in recent years, but have not outpaced traditional industries. Similarly, food processing like sugar industries, cotton textiles, silk and woolen industries have developed well. Most of large industries are concentrated in the south and southeast. The northeast is traditionally the poorest part of Brazil, but it is beginning to attract new investment. Let's recall. With the help of the pie chart given in figure 8.2, tell what is the contribution of secondary activities in Brazil's GDP. 56 Figure 8.4, logos of various industries. Industries in India, look at Fig 8.4. Observe the logos given. L. Identify the industries with which they are associated. L. Which raw material is used for these industries? Classify them accordingly. L. From which part of India do they get these raw materials? Discuss and write. The distribution of industries in India is highly uneven. This is so partly on account of uneven distribution of the necessary raw materials and power resources, and partly due to the concentration of enterprises, financial resources, and other necessary conditions in large towns. Jharkhand, Orissa, adjoining Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, parts of Rajasthan, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu account for most of the reserves of metallic minerals. This area, therefore, particularly the northeastern part of the peninsula, has a very high concentration of heavy metallurgical industries, with almost all the steel centers situated here. Availability of large quantities of coal and refractory materials, along with cheap power from the Damodar Valley Corporation and a number of thermal power projects, have added to the advantages. Rajasthan has copper, lead and zinc, Karnataka has steel, manganese, and aluminium, and Tamil Nadu has aluminium metal industries. Agro-based industries including cotton, jute, and sugar are heavily concentrated in the raw material producing areas. The forest-based industries including paper, plywood, matches, resins and lac are in the forest areas of various states. The coastal belt of Kerala has a heavy concentration of coir, copra, and fish canning industries. Koyali, Digboy, Nunmati, and Bangajayan refineries are situated close to the petroleum-producing areas, and Madurai and Barani refineries in the interior, away from the coast and oil-producing areas. The distribution of cement industry is also highly conditioned by the availability of raw materials. Gujarat, Rajasthan and Tamil Nadu produce the bulk of salt in the country. Mechanical engineering, electricals, automobile, fertilizer, and numerous consumer industries, which show little bias for raw material, have come up all over the country with heavier concentration near the big cities. 57. Let's recall. Export, import, and balance of trade, value in US dollar, India-Brazil trade. Read the adjoining table and answer the following questions. What is balance of trade? Tell the types of balance of trades. In which country export exceeds import in all the years? Brazil's balance of trade belong to which type? 2009 to 10, 2010 to 11, 2011 to 12, 2012 to 13. India's balance of trade belong to which type? Exports imports 178,751.4 288,372.9 152,994.7 127,647.3 251,136 369,770 197,356.4 180,458.8 304,623.5 489,181.3 256,038.7 226,243.4 214,099.8 361,271.9 242,579.8 223,149.1 and India. Trade makes up about 25% of GDP. See Fig 8.5 below and compare it with India. Geographical explanation. Use your brain power. If Rajasthan does not have a coastal area, then how does it produce salt? Geographical explanation. Brazil mainly exports iron ore, coffee, cocoa, cotton, sugar, tobacco, oranges, and bananas, while it imports machinery, chemical products, fertilizers, wheat, heavy vehicles, mineral oil and lubricants. Major trading partners are Germany, USA, Canada, Italy, Argentina, Saudi Arabia. Brazil trade, percent of GDP, India trade, percent of GDP. India mainly exports tea, mangoes, coffee, spices, leather and leather goods, iron ore, cotton and silk textiles, while it mainly imports petroleum, machines, pearls and precious stones, gold and silver, paper, medicines, etc. India's major trading partners are the UK, the USA, Germany, Japan, China, Russia, etc. Colors of both Indo-Brazil ties. Answer the following. What does BRICS stand for? When was it established? What are the objectives of this bloc? The countries of which continent are not a member of this bloc? In which continents do the member countries lie? Figure 8.5, Contribution of trade in GDP. 58. Through BRICS, Brazil has opened up a strategic partnership with India. There have been agreements for bilateral investments between India and Brazil. Fig 8.6 shows the trade between India and Brazil. Study the graphs and answer the following questions. In which year the value of exports to Brazil exceeded the imports from Brazil? In which year the trade with Brazil was most favorable of all? Comment upon the balance of trade in the year 2013. From which year the value of exports to Brazil have exceeded the value of imports from Brazil? Write a note on the trade between Brazil and India. Export-import in million US dollar. Geographical explanation. Indian companies set up industrial centers all over Brazil and invested lot of capital. The Indian companies have invested in such sectors as IT, pharmaceuticals, energy, agribusiness, mining, engineering and auto sectors. Brazil's footprint in India is smaller but important. The Brazilian companies have invested in automobiles, IT, mining, energy, biofuels, footwear sectors in India. Do you know? Brazil has been the largest producer of coffee for the last 150 years. The plant belongs originally to Ethiopia. It was first brought to Brazil by some French settlers who established in the state of Para in the early 18th century. Coffee farms are called fazendas. Import from Brazil. Export to Brazil. Figure 8.6, India-Brazil trade. Do you know? Taxes are an important part of the economy and trade of any country. India has now switched to the GST, goods and service tax, which aims towards one tax all over the country on various commodities and services. Brazil too has adopted the system from 1984. Like India, in Brazil too GST has various slabs. Exercise 1. Quetzal. A. Fill in the blank with appropriate word. India's per capita income is less than Brazil due to underscore 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 underscore. I. Low national income. 2. Massive population. 3. Big family size. 59. 4. Low food grain production. B. The economy of Brazil is mainly dependent on the activities there. I. Primary. 2. Secondary. 3. Tertiary. 4. Quaternary. C. 2 quetzales. A. B. 3 quetzales. A. B. The economies of India and Brazil are of the type I. Undeveloped. 2. Developed. 3. Developing. 4. Highly developed. Answer the following questions. Why has mining not developed in the western part of Brazil? What are the similarities and differences in the fishing activities in Brazil and India? Give reasons. Per capita land availability is more in Brazil as compared to India. There is mixed economy in Brazil and India. 4 quetzales. Study the following graph and analyze in short. 100%, 90%, 80%, 70%, 60%, 50%, 40%, 30%, 20%, 10%, 0%. India-Brazil contribution of sectors in national income. India-Brazil percentage of population engaged in the sector tertiary, secondary, primary. 60